10 rounds. 3 minutes. 2 movies? Battle Remake.
Welcome to Battle Remake. My name is Buzz Mead.
I'm Eric Little.
So, Eric, if you had to rob a bank today, all right?
Just one.
Well, yeah. Let's just start with one.
Okay.
And you had to pick a mask of any president. I mean, like, who are you picking?
Millard Fillmore.
Millard Fillmore. Who?
Try recognizing Millard Fillmore, right?
Okay.
If there's a mask of Millard Fillmore, I want that mask.
Sure.
He's not a short-lived president. That's William Henry Harrison. That's the guy that was in office 40 days. He got sick at his inauguration and then died.
Yeah.
But Millard Fillmore is just one. There's a lot of them in the 1800s that people are like, who's that? Like, if you were to put him up on a wall,
right?
People could not recognize that guy.
Yeah. The movie that we're doing right now is Point Break, and I kind of wonder if they would have updated like the masks. For this, I mean, I'm sure you have Bush in it. You probably have like Obama,
right?
And I mean, of the other two, like, who do you think that, if they were going to do it like shot for shot, like who would they update with the other? I even thought maybe they wouldn't go presidents. Maybe they go something else, like pop culture type things.
True.
I mean, like Trump or
you could do that. Well, yeah, you'd have like the current Republican presidential candidates. You could have like enough of those guys.
Oh, geez, yeah, you could.
I mean, I thought about doing that as a Halloween costume this year. Just dress in a suit and tie, and just when someone asked me, "Who are you for Halloween?" then just say I'm a different one. But then I would go with the obvious ones. I'm Carly Fiorina, or I'm Chris Christie, or I'm Marco Rubio. Just the funny ones. But you're right. You'd have Obama. You have Bill Clinton. Well, Clinton that would be one that just be. Yep. There you go. Just rife for parody. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yep, absolutely, man.
But I had with that one, that one, that one, that one.
Let's listen to the trailers for Point Break.
Great 80s scene-setting music.
Rush. Nothing that comes close to it. Not even sex.
We are the ex-president.
Total commitment. It's a real thin line between life and death.
Very 80s score, right?
Yes.
It's tragic to die doing what you love. If you want the ultimate, you gotta be willing to pay the ultimate price.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote.
You want to nail the bank robbers and be a big hero? Definitely. The ex-presidents are surfers.
You're trying to tell me the FBI is going to pay me to learn to surf?
I want Gary Busey to come up with every idea.
Yeah.
Every idea ever.
Will cause your worst fears to come true.
We'll take you to the edge. Past it.
This is gonna be a great day, Johnny.
Think taxpayers would like it, Utah, if they knew that they were paying a federal agent to surf and pick up girls?
Babes.
Big one.
The correct term is babes, sir.
Adios, amigos.
I'm assuming this is an action montage.
Yeah, there's action going on right now. And probably some surfing, too.
100% pure adrenaline.
That was an explosion.
Neither one of you have anything even remotely interesting to tell me.
Caught my first tube this morning. Sir.
Sir. And I think we've transferred now to the...
Yeah, this is the remake.
What kind of people are we dealing with here? A set of perps with a very unusual skill set. Utah, I need a theory.
So why not deploy your chute above the jungle and escape like a normal person?
Because I'm thinking these aren't normal people, sir.
I believe that, like me,
The people behind these robberies are extreme athletes, using their skills to disrupt the international financial markets. And they don't care who gets killed in the process.
They call me Bodie.
There's a few $1 billion of gold down there.
You're gonna steal it?
No, we're going to liberate it.
Oh, you think you're brothers? Now you show me whose side you're on.
Criminal masterminds. These just kids partying away their lives.
We can get these guys. I just need more time.
Bodie, do you have any idea how many people you've killed? How many laws you've broken?
The only law that matters is gravity.
All right, let's get this going here with round one here.
Round one.
Yes, let's.
All right, Eric, let's do a script versus script. Now, the original, very, very heavily, relies on the surfing aspect. So Johnny Utah is an FBI. He's an FBI agent. He's new. He's assigned to this older agent, played by Gary Busey, and they have to kind of try to crack this gang that's called the ex-presidents.
The string of bank robberies.
Correct.
Yeah,
and through a little bit of detective work and research, they figure out that they're actually surfers or whatever. The remake differs a little bit. Well, actually, it differs a lot. You still have those core people, yet it's not so surfing. It's more like extreme sports.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's a scene of them surfing. There's a scene of motocross.
Because there are 8 different challenges in this thing that they're trying to accomplish.
Right. They break down that these guys aren't surfers, but they're extreme athletes who are chasing the 8, as they call it.
Yeah.
And I forget the exact name of it. It's
I do too.
I think the Johnny Utah character, he's not a former quarterback. He's a former motocross person. So he's in extreme sports. He does every extreme sport very well, by the way.
Right.
Which is weird to me.
Right.
But what do you think about the script? Let's start on that from my bell here.
I think the script in the original's a work of art in a lot of ways, because I think the plot works in this one. A guy that has an athletic background. Does Keanu Reeves' character learn to surf really quickly for my liking? Oh yeah, he can't just be that good at everything. But why this works to me is that it has a lot of the things that makes sense. The way he has an interaction and an odd rapport with an older partner.
Sure.
And he does a lot early on to gain that partner's trust and to gain that partner's respect. And then, of course, there's a love interest. The way that's woven in, it's woven in an organic way.
Right.
The second one's not.
Yeah.
The second one, and we'll put aside the fact for now that a large portion of the second movie forgets the fact that they're actually trying to catch bad guys.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like, X Games porn, pretty much for much of that film.
It's shot awesome. It looks like.
Yeah. Like it's like, dude, I want to go do that. Dude, I want to go do that.
Yeah.
There's an audience for that, and fine.
Yeah.
But they forget that they're bad guys.
Right.
And I just don't believe that there are this many people that are good at this many different extreme sports.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody wanted to be a golfer and a football player and a baseball player. And could conceivably be that good at all of them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for extreme sports. I don't think you're going to have somebody that's that skilled of a skier, that's that skilled of a surfer, that's skilled at the wingsuit thing.
Right.
And
I call it the squirrel thing. That's what I call it.
Yeah. It's like a flying squirrel. Those are awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
If I had the guts to do that, I think that'd be a thrill, by the way. But I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
I just don't buy it.
Yeah, so you're going original.
Yeah.
Okay. My problems with the remake is that it's like extreme sports, and that's fine to do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
And instead of doing like in the original, it's like surfing, and you got to get what surfing's about. You got to get the spiritual nature of it.
Right.
You got to be like one with the wave type thing. They're talking about the same thing for extreme sports, but it's on a whole different level. It's gone past that.
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody's on board with that. They're like, oh, that's cool. No, it's like everyone should be confused by that. The authority figures, it should be like where they don't get it.
There's no clear delineation of why these people are willing to give their lives for this cause.
Yeah, and to me, it would have made more sense for everyone who's not Johnny Utah to be like, well, this doesn't make sense. I don't. It's like they jump on board with it really quick, and they're this has to be the people, and this is why they're doing it.
He's recruited an army of elite extreme sports athletes, but also ones that don't have minds of their own.
Right.
Which also, to me, goes against everything that that extreme sports athletes should stand for.
Yeah.
How does that be? I'm really good at these extreme sports, but I'm not sure enough of myself to stand up and say, no, this will kill people.
Right. Yeah.
But you're fine with them being that good at all of those things, though. Like, I'm fine if they want to switch out an extreme sport. I just don't buy that someone's going to be that skilled at so many different ones.
Yeah, I think that's what I kind of liked about the original Point Break is that he is a football player, but he's not a great surfer, so it takes him time to learn that.
Yeah.
And he's able to build that relationship with Lori Petty.
Yes,
and then and he has the injury. And that comes back later too. It made more sense for me, and it made him more human actually too.
I mean, that he could get good at one.
Right.
That you could be a good surfer if you hadn't done it.
Right.
But like I said, to be a good wingsuit guy, a good rock climber,
Yeah.
a good surfer, a good.
There's a chase on a rock at one point in this movie. I'm like,
they're going up.
I'm like, just shoot him. He's not going nowhere. He's climbing.
They're going up this rock by Angel Falls. I'm just like. Nobody just decides they're going to climb this rock.
Yeah.
It's just the way he puts the stuff. He's like, all right, looks like we're doing this.
Yeah. The last thing I want to add is that the love story in the remake is incredibly tacked on. I mean, it doesn't make. I mean, it's like the girl is giving exposition, and then all of a sudden they start making out. I almost saw the frame like where she was like, "Okay, let's make out," type thing, because there's no love story there. They had zero chemistry.
No, it's all about lust.
It didn't work.
Honestly, I thought she was going to get completely naked. I thought it was going to be a skinny dipping kind of thing. Truth be told, just going naked off a yacht.
Let's go on to 2 here.
Round 2.
Which Johnny Utah is your preferred Johnny Utah? The original with Patrick Swayze? No, excuse me. Line down. The original with Keanu Reeves or the remake with Luke Bracey?
Okay. This is pretty easy. I go Keanu Reeves on that one. You know what? I figured out like what people don't like about Keanu Reeves. It's when he has to give these long, exposition things. The way that he delivers lines, it does not suit him well to exposition. But you look at movies like The Matrix, you look at movies like The Replacements, you look at movies like John Wick last year. He's just doing like simple lines, and then people love him.
So you're saying like he should never be in anything Shakespearean, or
Probably
he's got to be relied upon to do some kind of a soliloquy.
Right.
No.
Well, unless it's Bill and Ted's where it's supposed to be funny.
Bill
It's
and
kind of like
Yeah.
to be or not to be. That's the question, dude.
Like,
type
that's
thing.
the question.
Right. So I mean, I liked him in this. He was fine. I really didn't like Luke
Bracey.
Yeah, Luke Bracey. I didn't like him in this. I just didn't. I had no reason to cheer for him.
Yeah.
I had, and I talk about that a lot on this, but I didn't have anything. He lost his friend. In a weird motocross accident, like where they jump on top of a rock for no apparent reason, just to do it.
Right. And honestly, that's where I felt less bad for Luke Bracey's character.
Yeah.
There's sadness there, and I feel bad, but his friend did something extremely stupid and unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the other thing that I didn't like is that he was incredibly smart when he had to be.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, you have the whole FBI on this thing. And it's been going on for a while. All of a sudden, he comes in. He's the one to solve it. But I had no information, that he was a puzzle. That he was really great at puzzles or something like that. I just didn't buy it.
I don't buy Luke Bracey as a cop.
No, I don't.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I'm going to go original because I enjoyed Keanu Reeves in this one. I really did. I want to go see a stack, and it amazed me looking at it. And I told you this, at how little Keanu Reeves I'd actually seen over the years. I want to go see a stack of Keanu Reeves in similar movies.
Okay.
I will say this about Luke Bracey: I didn't hate him as an actor.
No.
I think there's a role for a guy like this, and I think that he could have a successful careir.
Well, he looks great.
Yeah,
he's got the hair, he's got the body.
He's a
everything.
good-looking guy, and I think that in the right vehicles, he could succeed and do very well.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a bad actor. I just think this was a poorly written role.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that one.
There's only so much you can do based on the makeup of how the character's supposed to be. But I wouldn't mind seeing Luke Bracey in other stuff. I think I'll like him more in other stuff, but it doesn't hold a candle to what Keanu Reeves does.
Yeah, and he looks exactly like the actor James McAvoy. Have you? I mean,
I'm not familiar.
So he plays Professor X in all the new movies.
Okay,
they have the same face. I almost thought it was him, and I was like, oh wait, that's somebody else though.
Yeah.
But those two should be brothers in a movie because they'd be great.
Yeah.
Round three here. We'll do Patrick Swayze versus Edgar Ramirez, the character of Bodhi. This is the villain of the movie. Who'd you like better?
I will say this about Patrick Swayze's Bodhi. I wasn't into Bodhi the first few times I saw him.
Really?
It looked like almost a caricature of Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
And by that point, Patrick Swayze had his Dirty Dancing fame.
Mm-hmm.
We had moved on to a grittier Patrick Swayze phase in his career. But what I liked about the way Patrick Swayze played Bodhi is that there was a rapport between Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves. Even when they knew, it was out in the open that they were enemies.
I love that.
There was still hey, you need me, and there's a sense that they were kindred spirits.
Yeah.
And there was a respect level there.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that with Luke Bracey and Edgar Ramirez. You just don't.
Yeah.
It's really my biggest problems with Point Break goes back to a problem you and I have discussed about a lot of films nowadays, and especially films that are remakes of older films. They don't take the time to build, fleshed out characters.
Yes.
And these two characters, Johnny Utah and Bodhi, are not fleshed out characters.
Yeah.
And the relationship between them and the lack thereof is why I got to go with Swayze here.
Yeah. I love Patrick Swayze, and this is probably like the most favorite thing that he's in. I mean, he lives by this code, and I love that scene that you talk about. It's like him and Johnny Utah are in the van, and he has to kidnap his girlfriend or like that. You could see the pain. He goes, man, I don't want to do this. He goes, I don't want to do this, and you could see, that he hates violence. He's a villain who hates violence.
Yeah, yeah.
Who thought that's awesome? It's just so amazing. It's just so atypical of the typical
He's just so selfish about the thrill.
Right.
That there's a point where I think he's asked himself, what am I willing to endure or make others endure so that I can get the thrill?
Yeah.
And he's, maybe he thought at one point violence was, beyond the line, but now it's no,
yeah,
not so much.
Yeah, I wish more actors would play against type. I mean, because it just makes him so much more interesting. He's normally the romantic role he's a villain.
That is a fleshed out deep character.
Yeah,
a character with some conflicts of his own and some inner stuff going on, and you just don't get that out of the new Bodhi. You just don't.
Yep. Let's go round 4 here.
Round 4.
This ought to be fun. Which love interest did you like most? Lori Petty, who played Tyler. Again, this is another stereotypical late 80s, early 90s thing. Girls, really pretty girls with boy names.
Right.
Stereotypically boy names. Or Teresa Palmer, who played, I don't even know her name.
I don't even know her name either.
No.
It was some weird kind of name.
Does Bodhi or does Utah even know her name?
I don't think so. It was like
does he care?
It was like Shoshana or something like weird like that.
Yeah.
I think
just hit the original button right now.
Original.
I think Lori. I love Lori Petty in this.
I do too.
She's Tank Girl, but she's so integral as far as the plot. She teaches Johnny Utah how to surf, and she's his into the group or whatever. And it's tough for him because he has to lie to her.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to do it.
And he really likes her.
So there's that whole thing. The remake, she's just there. She's tacked on. She's someone who follows the gang. Yet I thought she was with Bodhi at first. But for some reason, she's just there, and she's not anyone's girlfriend. She's not...
Honestly, and that's what this character ought to be, and that's what they do in the first one.
Right.
You have to ask yourself, okay, what's the deal there with her and Bodhi?
Right.
And there's a scene where Johnny Utah kind of does that, and he figures pretty quickly out that she's... or figures out pretty quickly, rather, that they're estranged. That's not a thing, and that she's fair game.
Yeah.
I
just want to read this because I found this really interesting. The actress's name is Teresa Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
And she described her character as an oracle. She said that it was very deeply rooted in spirituality, and she was on a complex journey, and the men looked to her for answers. That's how she described the character of this.
Yeah, Teresa Palmer and I have different definitions of literally every word she just said in that statement.
Yeah. And this is also her first movie that she ever did, too.
That's also she's also playing the most shallow character in the film.
Yeah.
She's there because she's a pretty face.
Yeah, and
a hot body.
She gives a little bit of exposition, I think, about Bodhi, about that he was on the boat with the guy who made up the 8 or something like that, or whatever.
And then when Utah shoots her in the end.
Well, see, this is what I was confused about. Is she part of the gang the whole time, and is that why she's there? You know,
I don't know.
That would make sense, but
to me, it was just the most senseless thing ever.
Yeah,
he shoots and then he pulls off the mask, and that's how we find out what happens to the love interest.
Yeah.
I almost laughed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a very thin role, but
to go back to Lori Petty really quickly.
Yeah.
You know the scene that I found my favorite of hers, looking back on it, and it tells you everything you need to know about her really quickly, and I thought it was a brilliant scene. It was after that first time when she saves him at the beach, and she's in her car, changing out of her wetsuit into her clothes.
That's a great scene.
Isn't it?
I love that.
Because
she's just watching her, and she's changing out of her wet. Yeah, and she's clothes.
Because she's the girl that can change in public, and we all know a girl like
that's
that.
Great.
They can change in public. You know, I knew girls in the 7th grade that could do it. They could change into gym clothes in a crowded hallway.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what that tells me? That's your typical no frills, no nonsense girl. That you know everything about her. She's independent. She lives out of her car. You know, she goes on to her job. She takes care of her stuff, and that's her life right there.
Yep.
And that is everything you need to know about Tyler.
Yep. Yeah, she's great.
Right there, you can discern it in that scene.
She's great. So we'll take a short break here, and we'll come back with more Battle Remake.
John, Utah, day number 1 in L.A. Welcome aboard. We're going over your personnel records. Very impressive.
Thank you.
You may very well have been in the top 2% of your class at Quantico, but quite frankly, son, out here you have exactly 0 hours of experience in the field. You know nothing. In fact, you know less than nothing. If you even knew that you knew nothing, that'd be something, but you don't.
Yes, sir.
You need a solid breakfast, Utah? Sir? All the food groups, avoiding caffeine, sugar. I like to make sure that all my people maintain sound cardiovascular fitness. We don't drink, and we sure as hell don't smoke.
Sir, I take the skin off chicken.
Good man. This is us. Bank robbery. And you are now in the bank robbery capital of the world.
1,322 last year in L.A. County, up 26% from the year before.
That's correct. And we nailed over 1,000 of them. Miss Deere, take a look at that for me. Thank you. Do you know how we nail the bad guys, Utah? Do you know how we nail them? By crunching data. Good crime scene work, good lab work, and most importantly, good data-based analysis. Special Agent Utah, are you receiving my signal?
0 distortion, sir. I love these things.
You're a real Blue Flame special, aren't you, son? Young, dumb, and full of cum. I know. What I don't know is how you got yourself assigned out here to Los Angeles with us. I mean, hell, I guess we just must have ourselves an asshole shortage, huh?
That might be my favorite line in the film.
All right, so that was a scene from the original Point Break. So one thing that I forgot to say is that the script was the script of the original. It was like rewritten by Catherine Bigelow and James Cameron.
Okay.
So and they were married at the time.
That James Cameron.
James Cameron. Yeah, correct. Yeah. And he's also an executive producer on this movie too. Let's go. Is that the first time that Young, Dumb, and Full of Cum was used in a movie? I mean, because I've heard it. I've heard it since a lot.
I have too, but I didn't realize it was this film.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder if they're the ones who kind of made it up. You know.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Yes.
Let's do round 5 here.
Round 5. All
right, so we just heard the FBI chief, who's played by John C. McKinley. The remake has a similar character played by Delroy Lindo, who I love. Of those two, who did you prefer?
I know that Delroy Lindo is a very good actor.
I love Delroy Lindo. He's great.
He just falls so short in this for me. He tries to play it as a stereotype, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and John C. McKinley, you know, who a lot of folks nowadays know from Scrubs.
Right.
But he just comes in and plays that hard-nosed guy. That
He's very over the top.
Yeah,
you know.
A lot more over the top than we're used to seeing John C. McKinley. But I buy it from him.
Yeah.
And I just don't from Delroy Lindo. I don't know why.
Original.
I just don't buy it from him. And I've been trying to think of why I don't buy it from him for a long time, and I don't have a better answer than that. I just don't.
You just don't like the dude.
Just don't.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm going to go with you as well. I love Delroy Lindo. He's really great in this movie called Heist. It's... oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the director, but he's famous.
And if you've heard our Gone in 60 Seconds podcast,
he's in
he's in that.
The director of Heist is David Mamet. That's who it is.
David Mamet.
Yeah. But the reason why I think he falls short in this is because he doesn't have anything to do. It felt like they flew him in for 2 days. Well, that was what he did because he doesn't have a turn. He doesn't have any kind of motivation. He's immediately on board with Johnny Utah, who's an ex motocross person, just out of the academy, believes everything he's saying,
and is seemingly the only one that does.
Yeah.
Whereas to John C. McKinley, Johnny Utah's got to really prove himself and work pretty hard to prove himself.
Right. Well, but so does Gary Busey. I mean, so those two together are a team. It's not just it's not just trying to believe like one guy. If it was Luke Bracey and like Ray like Winstone together, and those two have to convince like. Him, that would make sense, but
which honestly is why those two don't really click, and and Patrick Swayze and Gary Busey do because they're both screw-offs, or viewed as screw-offs, but in different ways.
Correct.
Whereas in the new one, Luke Bracey's the only screw-off, and Delroy Lindo actually loves Johnny Utah in that one.
He loves him.
Loves him. But I think it all goes back to what we talked about earlier: the fact that in the remake, it's. The fact that they're chasing criminals is just so loosely tied in.
Yeah.
You almost forget about it. Like, you don't even see a robbery. You see like a video of one. Whereas, in the new one, they stake out. You see it happen.
Yeah.
You're very, tied into the fact that they are, bank robbers.
Yeah.
And you just forget about the fact that they're criminals.
Yeah.
Totally forget about it.
We should probably say, like, in the remake, they're not really trying to steal anything as far as, like, money. They're trying to liberate stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so they'll... They
blow up the gold mine.
Right.
They just release all the money and make it rain on Mexico.
Right. I think the first heist was they stole a bunch of diamonds and they kind of... I don't know, put them...
They buried them somewhere.
Something. I'm not really sure. I'm not... It's so different than what the original one was, kind of so.
It's Robin Hood, but for Mother Earth.
Kind of, yeah. Let's keep going to round 6 so we can get through this movie.
Round 6.
I can tell there's just a sense that we need to get this one done.
Yeah, kind of.
Johnny Utah's partner, Gary Busey in the original, or Ray Winstone in the second?
Okay. I love Gary Busey in this.
Yep.
Let me see my reason right. He plays it crazy.
Yeah.
He's under control, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He has his moments of craziness, but they're great. I like the fact that he has a turn in this, like he doesn't like Johnny Utah at first, but he sees that he's passionate about like what he does, and then he kind of opens up to this crazy hypothesis that he has that they're surfer guys.
Utah, or Gary Busey rather.
Original.
You hit it again because I'm going to go
original.
Gary Busey's smart enough to understand in this one that even though he doesn't understand Johnny Utah's methods, they're effective, and he sees the value in it.
Yeah.
And I like people in real life and characters in films that do that. They're smart enough to understand, maybe I don't get your methods, and I couldn't do what you do, but, what you do works.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
and like we said earlier, there's that whole relationship, too, where they bond, Keanu Reeves and Gary Busey in this film, they bond over the fact that, the boss, for various reasons, doesn't like either one of them.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they're on this case.
Yeah, and the odd thing about Ray Winstone in this is, and I like him in The Departed a lot. He was awesome in that movie, but he's so like one note. I mean, and like I think he's an FBI agent in England, if that makes sense. I'm not really sure. And then he's always asking Johnny Utah, he goes like, "What side are you on? What side are you on? What side are you on?"
Yeah.
And he's like, he's clearly undercover. He's been undercover this whole time. You guys told him to go undercover, and he's like, "Where were you?" He's like, "I'm undercover."
He's
Dude,
embedded.
Yeah, it's weird. And then the other thing is like he thinks that Johnny Utah, is a party guy. He's undercover. That's what he's supposed to be doing
with people that are that carry out a lifestyle that's very nocturnal.
Yeah, it was almost it was so like one note to me, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me. So.
No, The Keanu Reeves-Gary Busey relationship is one of my favorite things in the original Point Break.
Yeah.
Because it's so unlikely.
I like when they jump up in their server.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
it's great.
It's so unlikely, but it works.
Yeah.
And you understand, and it makes sense that it works.
Yeah.
It really does when you think about it.
Yeah. Let's go to round 7 here.
Round 7.
Round 7 is the ex-presidents versus Bodie's gang. I don't know what they called the gang.
I don't know.
I don't think they had a name at all. It confused the shit out of me because there was 3 gang members in the original and Bodie. In the new one, it's Bodie and 2 other guys. Yet there was always like 4 extra guys hanging around. And I was like, okay, I don't understand. It was almost like they were back. I don't understand what was going on. Do you have a preference?
Bodie's gang in the second, like I said, they were just following along. They were tagging along.
Yeah.
In Bodie's whatever.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I don't know that the ex-presidents really completely knew why they were doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew that they were privy to a lifestyle of extreme excess and partying and stuff, and I think that might have been what they got out of it.
Yeah.
But I like the ex-presidents simply because they were funny.
Yeah.
Like
original.
All but their last robbery when they decide to go rogue and go for the vault.
Right.
They're funny.
Just that was Bodie. Yeah, that's Bodie.
Yeah. Just the way they come in and they're calling each other by their names. LBJ, how much time we got?
Yeah.
Ronnie, I think Nancy's on the way. Just making president jokes and stuff like that. And then Nixon runs out and stops and says, I'm not a crook, as he's got a bag full of money in a bank and he's running. And I told you about this earlier. Style.
Yeah.
They are robbers with style, and I think it's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
So they were funny.
I think there's something to be said for like a robbery, a team that has fun at it and that has joy with it.
Yes.
As soon as you start to make it serious, I think it gets scary. As soon as it crosses a line to where it stops being fun, it starts being serious, it's hard to like those characters or whatever,
Yeah.
And the other thing about the ex-presidents is that I think they were doing it for, the adrenaline and for money, because that's fine to be like your motivation, I think, as opposed to, the new group where I think they were on board like for the spirituality, but it was hard for me to get on board with it.
Yeah,
it was just,
their motivations were much more relatable.
Yeah.
And how about the scene where they're all in the back of the van and it looks and Keanu Reeves essentially participates in an ex-president's crime?
Yeah, they make him do it.
Yeah, that's got to be so surreal for him to see it from that angle.
Yeah.
Like he clearly knows who these people are, and they're about to pull off a heist in front of an FBI agent.
Yep.
Who is powerless to do anything about it. That's just amazing to me.
Yep. All right, that's round 7 there. We'll take another short break, and we'll be right back with more Battle Remake.
Gotta find a line, you gotta do it fast.
What about that one over there?
No. No? Not radical enough for you? It's radical enough. It's not beautiful.
It's death.
Maybe. But it's also perfect.
Let's do this.
Right.
That's it, we're done. Send a chopper, it's over.
Screw that.
All right, that was a scene from the remake version of A Point Break. Forgot to turn that off. Okay, let's keep it rolling here, Eric. Let's keep it rolling to round 8 here.
Round 8.
All right, I'm interested to hear your opinion on this. Who is the better director here? The director of the original is Catherine Bigelow. So most people know her from Zero Dark 30 and also The Hurt Locker.
Mm-hmm.
or Erickson Core, who most people know as the DP on Fast and Furious?
Well, to answer this question, you kind of have to ask yourself what you expect the film to be. If you want a deep, well-done film, you'd have to say Catherine Bigelow is the best director here of the two. But if you want a commercial for Monster Energy drink or Mountain Dew, then I think Erickson Core is your guy.
Right.
Because basically Point Break, the remake, is about a 95 to 100-minute Mountain Dew commercial.
Yeah, it is.
You know, the way it's shot, the way it's, everything. It's got some beautiful vistas.
It does.
You know, the scenery is incredible in the remake. Absolutely incredible. World-class stuff that we're looking at. But, if that's all that's nice about the film,
right,
then I don't know that he's doing his job either.
Yeah, I don't think that's directing, really.
No. I mean, I like some of the techniques that are used in a couple of the heist scenes.
Sure.
The low camera angles I was cool with. Seeing the tires come up and stuff like that. But
well, that's the next question. Really.
Oh, the cinematography. That's
so,
true.
who do you like for directing? Are you original or you remake?
I'm gonna go original.
Okay, cool.
I read some of your thoughts on Catherine Bigelow too. How she didn't do more as a crime.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this movie came out
by against not on her sake. By anyone who wouldn't consider her to do a film.
Yeah, correct. I mean, so this came out what?
I'm gonna go 93 or 89.
91.
91.
Okay.
Well, I said 89 or 93.
Yeah.
It was a split the difference.
That's fine.
How about that?
Okay, so she did this in 91. I think she's married to James Cameron at the time. She doesn't direct anything else for 2 years, and it's like a TV series, or a TV pilot or TV show or something like that. If someone made this original movie today, I think they're directing Ant-Man or they're directing Thor. I mean, because it was, I love the heart. I love the action. The characters are deep. It's so crazy because it's like, is it because she was a woman?
You have to ask.
I mean, I haven't seen Hurt Locker, but I have seen Zero Dark 30, and I think that movie is amazing.
Yeah.
And the fact that I love this movie for a long time, and I had no idea that she directed it. And when I figured that out, I was ashamed because I was like, man, it took me that long to figure, find her kind of, So, but I mean, I'll go original too. But.
Yeah. If you haven't hit it for me, go ahead and hit it again because I think she's terrific. It's well done. It's well done.
Yeah. Let's go to round 9 here.
Round 9.
Which of these two films has the better cinematography, original or remake?
Unfortunately, I think this is pretty easy. I think the remake. I mean, they're using GoPros, they're using the red camera, they're using something called an Inopticon. This dude knows how to shoot action. Even the surfing stuff was the waves just looked bigger. I don't know if it breaks down to lenses or whatever, but it just looks huge. The waves, everything looks beautiful. So I kind of have to give it up to the remake, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Remake. I don't think I'm going to agree with you for exactly those reasons because I like how the remake is shot. It's really shot nicely, but like we said, if the vistas are the highlight, that does not a good film make. But if you're looking at one category of a film, that makes this it's beautifully shot.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, I would almost want to go spend the money to go see the IMAX version of this because I bet you it's pretty cool. I think the last scene is in a place called Angel Falls.
It's in Venezuela. Yeah,
Venezuela. I kind of want to go there after seeing this because it looks amazing.
I've heard of Angel Falls. I didn't realize how awesome it is and how big Angel Falls is. But you're right. I want to go see this now.
Yeah.
I could not do anything that is depicted in this movie except maybe canoe down the river toward the falls. But it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So hands down to the remake there.
Cool.
Remake.
Let's finish this up here. I just got to find my little button here.
Round 10.
Okay, round 10. Which is the better ending, the original or the remake?
The original had me. I love the ending of the original.
Yeah.
Until Keanu Reeves throws his badge away.
Okay. Yep. Sure. I'll give you that.
I don't like that. Why does he got to do that?
Yeah.
Why does he throw his whole... you let the one guy go, fine. He's going to die anyway or whatever. Fine.
Okay.
But you tailed him. You're obviously very good at what you do, and you don't just go through Quantico and then just I'm going to go pump gas for a while.
Right.
Or I'm going to go work at a convenience store for a while. I'm going to go sell suits.
Yeah.
No, that's hard work. You don't just give that career up.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like the ending of the other either because the dude fell off Angel Falls.
Right.
And lived to tell about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a thing that is even possible. I mean, it's probably just like going off Niagara Falls. If you hit a rock or something, it is possible to survive it. Some people don't.
Sure.
But if we're going to go with the two, I didn't really like either ending, truth be told.
Okay.
And again, it's the fact.
How does that work spoiling-wise?
I'm going to give the edge to the original because I liked it. I liked it better than the other, but that doesn't mean I really liked either one.
Okay, that's cool.
And like I said, it's all because of the fact that Keanu Reeves just tosses the badge at the end.
Yeah, I can't really explain that. I mean, because it seems like he's used the resources of the FBI, in order to get to Australia or wherever they are.
Yeah.
So
I don't know that that's necessary.
Yeah,
Why does he have to do that?
I'm not sure because if it was something like to where like he had been fired or he kept on getting like pushed back or something like that, like from the FBI, because I guess they were on him pretty hard that like he was with Bodhi or whatever.
Or if he tosses the badge, grabs a board, and joins Bodhi,
maybe his death,
right?
He commits suicide. You want him to commit suicide?
Well, no, I'm just saying. But that ending makes more sense to me than him going all the way to Australia after all that time, chasing Bodhi down, and then just
Yeah. Well, I'll choose original. And my problem with the remake is that, and I've seen this in a lot of these films that we do, they try to play off the emotional like notes of the original and not do all the character work like to get to that point.
Right.
So, I mean, so Bodhi is doing the gold robbery, and like it happens and it goes bad. So it's the first chance for Bodhi or for Johnny, to shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
So then he lets him go. He chases him on a motorbike. They get to the bottom of the river. He points a gun at him. He lets him go. He chases him to Angel Falls. He climbs up a rock. He could have pointed his gun at him and shot him right there. He lets him go. He gets to the top. He lets him go. And then he goes to
he follows him off.
Right.
Angel Falls.
Right, yeah. And then he goes and tracks him down in the middle of the ocean. Uses the FBI's
elite chopper,
right, which is dangerous in a hurricane. By the way, that chopper. There's no way that chopper could have gone out there.
In addition to the equipment, he puts a man's life at risk.
Right. Yeah. The pilot's life. He puts his own life and his life, and then he rappels down onto a boat in the middle of a storm.
Yeah.
He does the same scene that Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves had, and but he doesn't use handcuffs.
Yes.
He just lets him go.
Without the emotional depth.
He rappels back up the helicopter.
Empty-handed.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because it's like if you really wanted to get this guy, you had 3 chances. And like the one chance of the original, I could see him passing up and saying, I let him go or whatever. But 3 chances and then going out in the storm and trying to get the guy and then giving up.
Yeah.
Didn't make sense.
Well,
at all.
That's brilliant. I hadn't thought it all that far through.
I know. Thank you.
I know things. The scene where they basically replicate the, where he climbs the fence. What is that? Is that a ravine or a runoff?
Yeah.
Whatever. They had these in California.
Yeah. It's like a water. God, what is it called? It's called aqueduct.
Aqueduct, yeah. Well, because we've seen aqueducts, the same aqueduct, I feel like, in every or multiple films we've talked about here.
It was in T2 as well.
Oh, it was.
Who was directed by James Cameron.
It was in Herbie.
Yeah.
Or the now Parent Trap.
Parent Trap. Okay.
Not Parent. No. Freaky Friday. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Anyway, back to the point.
Yep.
They have that juxtaposed with the scene where they're in the woods or in the forest rather.
Yeah.
He has a much cleaner shot in the remake.
Oh God,
much cleaner shot.
Yeah.
That you and I aren't necessarily marksmen with firearms. No. You and I could have made that shot. Yeah. The other one's a lot farther away.
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly an easy shot, but still, could have had it.
Yeah.
That blew my mind that he didn't take that shot. Yeah. And then they still have them frustratingly, the firing in the air. Just
it didn't make sense.
No,
and they're trying to play up the same notes.
And it didn't quite hit the notes.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
All right. Well, let's go to the point of the show where we call.
That's a wrap.
Eric, what's your final thoughts on this movie?
The original Point Break is a movie that needs to be on cable television every weekend or every other weekend.
Okay.
The remake Point Break I would call it a dumpster fire, but that would be an insult to fire to dumpsters and the contents of said dumpsters. It's just an atrocious movie from start to back. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's shot beautifully and it has some beautiful scenery in it, but it doesn't. It doesn't all come together.
Yeah,
it doesn't come together the way it needs to. The crime element's not tied in nearly as well.
Yeah.
The characterization is sorely lacking in the second one.
Oh God,
yeah. And it just, you have some ingredients, and you have the remnants, and they try to hit the emotional, they just don't do it.
Yeah.
And the first one's a really nice film, and I'm not saying it doesn't have its flaws,
right?
But it's well enough put together to where this is a watchable movie again.
Yeah.
You know, you watch it multiple times.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I had trouble sitting through the remake once.
Yeah. The one thing that I'll say about the remake is that I almost thought that if they hadn't attached Point Break to it, if this had just been a separate movie in itself, if it wasn't Johnny Utah, if it wasn't Bodie, I wonder if they'd have more success because early screenings are that it's not doing great and it's going to lose money or whatever. But
the studios have tried to bury it from the critics.
Correct. Yeah. So I almost wonder if they would have gone their own way, if this would, because it is a cool looking movie. And it'll probably do good like in the IMAX and the 3D stuff and stuff like that. But it's like too many times I feel like the studios are trying to tack on a title and saying, here's Point Break 2015, and it's like you can't do that with classic movies. I mean, like we've seen that in the past 3 months that we've done this. You can't do that with audiences.
Right? It's a Karate Kid.
Karate Kid's perfect example.
Yeah. Where the movie, the concept, they try to make it close enough to an original concept, and it falls flat. No, you're right. If I were to see this again or if I were to see this in a theater period, the only way I would recommend doing it is, like you said, an IMAX or 3D.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be a visually stunning movie to see in IMAX or 3D. That's about it.
Yep. Okay. Let's see who won here. Even if you don't even have to add that up.
99 to 91. I'm doing it in my head, just looking at it.
Got Bobby Fischer here with me.
Yep.
For the original here in a landslide.
Yep.
If you guys want to follow us, we're on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. And anything else we should add about this?
Not a landslide, an avalanche.
Oh, yeah, an avalanche.
There you go.
Okay. So my name is Buzzmead.
I'm Eric Little.
Until next time, have a good time all the time.